Hi and welcome to my channel once again. My name is Onolum. I'm having a phenomenal woman on my channel today on your career and business hub, and her name is Mrs. Ntombizodwa Moepeng. I've known her for quite some time and she's one of the women I look up to. And I'm just gonna ask her to tell us her name and where she's coming from, just to give us a brief background of who she is, what she does, what she's all about, you know. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you. Firstly, let me acknowledge and maybe appreciate this type of interview, B. And really, it was not easy to find time to
Yes.
to do this interview. Yes, but one will appreciate really. My name is Ntombizodwa Moepeng. My maiden surname is Mvuka. I'm a woman now, but I'm a girl born in Kunwana. I grew up in Bekesdal in the West Rand. Then I moved to Kunwana back in 1993 after my parents got divorced. Then I grew up as a village girl. One had enjoyed the traditional way of living where we used to go to fetch water in the river, to go get the wood in the bushes in Kunwana. So I had both a mix of a traditional way of living, a village way of living, and a township way of living. That's
Okay.
me.
And I personally know her as a social worker because she's someone who's very compassionate. She is someone who always wants to help out where she can. And I'm going to ask her why she chose to be a social worker. Was it because of her background? Is it something she was always interested in? Did she draw inspiration from someone? Or I just want her to take us through that process of how she became a social worker.
Yeah, you are correct, B. Like I drew inspiration from one of the social workers around 1999, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure.
I was doing grade 9 at that time, standard 7.
Okay.
Growing from a family, a family that was under poverty, if I had to be correct, we were assisted by government through social workers. So there was this young woman by the name of Osblondi working in Gelexpa. When she visited my home then, I looked at her, I watched at her, how she looked, how she was dressing, how she conducted herself. Then I just fell in love with this thing of social work. And I remember, like, as we were growing, we used to have music books. We used to have albums where we keep
Yes.
our photos.
Yes.
Then in that album, I wrote something like a CV,
Okay.
and under career, I wrote social work.
What?
I got surprised. Yes, I got surprised after many years in 2003 when I enrolled for social work. Then I went back home. When I took my stuff, then I went through that album. I saw, like, really, was it me that wrote this social work? So it was something that came like that, but I got so passionate about social work, that opportunity of helping others, knowing each other, knowing people's backgrounds, that we are not equal, we are from different backgrounds, and giving that helping hand, really it fulfills one's heart.
Wow. Okay. If things were different with your upbringing, do you think if maybe you would have grown in a different home setting, probably if like you didn't have to move from one place to the other for schooling, all of those things. And if your background, like if you were not less privileged, like you were saying, do you think you would have still chosen to be a social worker?
Yo, that one, I will be lying, really, because as a young girl, I remember when I was still 6 years,
Mm.
I used to say, I'm going to be an attorney. I want to be a lawyer.
Mm.
But at that age, I didn't know what is an attorney, and you see. But I'm not really sure whether, if it wasn't for my background, what career would I should have followed. Really, on that one, I know that I used to want to be a lawyer, and at some stage I just fell in love with social work. Now I have chosen now a different stream now. I'm no longer practicing as a social worker.
Yeah.
I what I'm doing currently is that initial thing that I thought I will be when I was 6 years old, advocating for workers now. I'm doing that attorney like
Yeah.
type of work now. Yes.
I can say that in a way, God found a way
Yes.
of merging them.
Like that, it's
You
like that.
mentioned that you are advocating for workers. What do you mean when you are saying you're advocating for workers?
I'm now a full-time shop steward since
Okay.
2018. I got elected. Before I got elected, I joined the Department of Social Development in 2006 as a social worker. And since my appointment, I think 3 months down the line, I was already advocating for workers. I was already talking on behalf of workers, and I did not want to see like managers exploiting workers. So I got elected around 2014 as a shop steward at a branch. But in 2018, I got elected as the regional secretary of NEHAWU. But now currently I'm the provincial secretary of NEHAWU in the Northwest Province.
Wow,
Still doing
representing.
still doing what I like. I do not like to see any person oppressing another person, because oppression in its nature, it
Yeah,
suppresses one's mind.
yeah,
And if we have to say we are free at last, especially after 1994,
yes.
every person must be free in thinking, in expressing their views, in expressing their God-given talents. So whenever I see a supervisor or a manager using their power to oppress others, that irritates me a lot. So currently, as the provincial secretary, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, because now it is a very big scale where I'm able to touch base with majority of workers, ensuring that people understand their rights, people knows how to interpret these policies, your Labor Relations Act, your Public Service Act, or referring even their grievances
Yeah.
through your CCMA and different chambers.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, now we are moving to our next question, which is how does being a social worker contribute to your current responsibilities?
As a social worker, you are an enabler, you are a counselor, you are a teacher, you are a mother. You see so many roles that a social worker can do. But as an enabler, you are helping people to help themselves.
Yeah.
So in social work, we are saying you don't promise people anything. You rather educate people how to cope with their different situations. Then social work has contributed a lot in me being a successful shop steward, because in my approach, always I take a route of educating people so that even when I'm not there, people are still able to can fight for their rights. We are saying as social workers, You don't catch a fish for somebody. You help people how to catch fishes for
Wow.
themselves.
Okay.
That is that enabler role that I like more than any other roles. We normally talk about in terms of sympathizing with people. We talk about empathy. You
Yeah.
feel with the person how they feel in their different situations.
Yeah.
So by feeling with a person, you are saying, if it was me, I can take this approach so that I can get out of this situation, you see. So
Yeah.
social work has really contributed a lot in me being a successful shop steward. You know.
I'm going to move to our next question, which is, what are your daily experiences and how do you go about solving them in your current position?
Yeah, my daily experiences, one will wake up at 5 o'clock, between 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock, but it depends. Some days in an hour's time, between 7 and 8, one would have received so many calls of workers complaining about their cases and whatnot, you see. So waking up every day, I will say I look towards uh, making change in people's lives. That is what I enjoy the most. And the approach that I use in my life principle, is that one needs to engage always. When you meet a person complaining about something, just listen. Give the person that person enough time to talk, so
Yeah.
that you are able to influence the person, to influence the person positively, depending on how that person views life in general, you see.
Yeah.
So every Friday, but around 3 o'clock, I get so happy that now it's weekend. I need to rest. Come
And
Sunday around 3 o'clock, I know that my work already has started. Sunday, 3 o'clock. So that is the kind of life that one lives. I'm a very busy person. Uh, Attending different meetings, attending different interventions, even the family. Sometimes my family will miss me because I'm also studying. I like reading a lot. I
yeah,
read different documents. Hey,
before
I read a lot.
I go to like to even the next question. Ne?
Yeah.
This is not even, just so you know, if you're watching from home, just so you know, this is not a part of the questions that I had planned to ask her. But now that she has
Yeah.
mentioned that she is also studying, I'd just like you to take us through like your qualifications. Where are you now and where are you going? What are you planning? Because she's one of the women
I,
who studies so much. She inspires me so much. So
yeah.
just through what have you studied? What are you studying at the moment? Because I know there are a lot of belts. I know there are a lot of belts because I chose this platform to encourage someone who might have had the same background as you. So your story
Yeah.
as a reference to say, if she could make it, if she could do it, if she could obtain so many belts, if she could be where she is now, then definitely I can also do it.
Yeah. Actually, my first degree was in social work. Then I've got two certificates. The one, labor relation, it's a certificate, and advanced management diploma. I've just graduated. I think it's now the second week since my graduation.
In case people are wondering, I'm going to show you the pictures that she's talking about. She looks stunning. She looks stunning. Yes, you can.
Yeah, I've just graduated my postgraduate diploma in public administration, and hey, you must go and study that qualification with UNISA. I like how they have packaged this qualification. It has your human resource, it has your um, reflective public administration. It is about different researchers under the reflective public administration. It has strategic management. There's a bit of what is it, law, a bit of law. I like how they have packaged that qualification, and also it gives you both administration and politics. I like politics, so it gives you both. So I'm planning to continue with that qualification until I get. I'm looking forward to it.
Dr. Moepeng.
I can't wait until I get my red gown and in public administration, because it's a beautiful field of study.
So that
Sure.
I know through this video, I'm not the only person who's going to be encouraged and motivated to study
Sure.
and even to work hard, So I'm gonna go to the next question. This is our last question, I promise.
Sure.
Because I know that you took like time to
Yeah.
just do this interview with us. So the next question is what is the most, since you started, I'm going to include both being a social worker and being
a shop steward.
Shop steward.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to combine both of them. What is the most difficult case you have ever dealt with in your entire career that had you like, you felt like, I don't even know how I'm going to deal with this, but you eventually found a way to deal with it?
Yeah, there are many different cases, as a social worker, because I ended up being a probation officer again in my field as a social worker. But one of the cases that I still remember quite well, I visited one of the families in the deep rural areas of the Northwest where I was working.
Yeah.
Then this family didn't have a proper shelter. So they will take the kgone,
Yeah.
the woods, and they will take the mud, but just to build a house.
Shelter.
And during rainy weathers, those houses will smell, di melt like your chocolate, and you will find a family of 7 staying in that smallanyana thing. There's nothing. It is just soil inside that shelter. I remember the first time I was working as a social worker, my first 6 months, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat when I came back from home visits. But then as time goes by, I ended up getting used to the type of things, and it was really so difficult. And I was always asking myself to say, but after we have our forefathers fought for freedom, there are still families who are living in extreme poverty. It reminded me of my background. Those type of families, remember where one comes from. One used to live in a 2-room shelter home where there was no windows and whatnot. So seeing that in my practice as a social worker, really some things di tla go isa ko tlase. So that was one of the difficult cases I came across. I remember when I went for home visits, I will wake up very early and I will knock off very late, because it was difficult for me to leave these people before I can assist them. then I will ensure that whether I knock off at 6 o'clock, for as long as I could have assisted people, then I will get fulfilled. I didn't even care whether I'm going to travel for longer kilometers. I used to arrive at home around 9 o'clock because one understood these people needs our services and we are very far. You will visit, you will conduct visits once per week, and leaving them in that situation without giving any hope, it was really difficult for me to leave them. So there are many cases, but there are so many cases. I remember traveling with a government car, not knowing what to do. Sometimes I will get stuck at the middle of the night, in the middle of the road. I will just open the car at the bonnet, in the battery. And when I started the car will start and I will get inside the car and go home. So as a shop steward, nothing I can say it was difficult as a shop steward, but I think it is because of I'm doing what I like the
Yes,
most,
yes.
enjoying what I like, everything that comes my way. I treat it as a challenge and I give it a try. I give it my best shot, and one always gets positive results.
Sure, that was amazing, 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 amazing. Now, I had said that was the last question, but I just want you to encourage someone at home, someone who is in a hopeless situation, probably in high school, or probably the person has just lost their job, or they're looking for just a word of encouragement to just help them to get through whatever they're going through at the moment. They're hopeless, they're not working, probably they haven't gotten the bursary, all of these things. So just give like in closing.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. In closing, thank you, Goto. One of the things that once tried, I used to sell sweets and magwenyas before I could enroll as a social worker. Because I believe that even if you don't have a transport, God has blessed you with with your feet. Use your feet as your transport. Use your mind as something that can generate income. Use your hands to make money. There's a lot that one can do to survive, because what we only need to survive. Schools are for free. Children can go to school up to a university level. It doesn't matter the house that you are staying in, whether you have enough to feed your family, but just a small backyard garden can also
Yeah,
assist, because if you have a garden, you will buy only maize and rice.
yeah,
Then with others, you can always go. But we know the current situation that we live on. The poverty line now is more than 30%. There are people who goes to bed with empty stomach. It is so difficult nowadays. But there are people who are there to can help those families that are struggling. So for those who want to study, UNISA is one of the best universities. I have seen domestic workers graduating with UNISA,
yes,
domestic workers. So for people to register with UNISA, any town where there is UNISA, even through Google, you take your gadget, you go to UNISA, you will see how to apply, then you get a space, you study whilst you are at home.
yeah.
So there are opportunities out there. It doesn't matter for those who does not know what to do. NGOs, you can register an NGO. You are able to request funds through different government departments. And nowadays, the fourth industrial revolution is here. You can always ask somebody to get information. So people must never give up, in life. Push, push, push. pray until something happens.
happens. Thank you so much.
Yes.